It's the number one question I get asked anywhere I go when I'm talking about the Jazz, and we're addressing it to start today's edition of Ask LOJ. Next on Locked on Jazz. Bum 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 bum.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz. It's your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Give you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps, as well as on YouTube. And to the everydayers out there, you are truly the best. Thank you very much for tuning in each and every day, and thank you for making Locked on Jazz your first listen today. My apologies for no show Wednesday and Thursday. Or did it turn out to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday? I think it might have turned out to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Some good family stuff took place, and for me to get there and get everything done meant I would have had to record at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I guess I just didn't have that in me. Let's be just totally honest. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to lie to you. The truth was that if I was going to get where I needed to get to be a good dad and get to do what I wanted to do as a parent, I was going to have to start recording at 5:30 in the morning. I decided not to do that. Okay. So totally transparent here and telling you the truth. But I'm back. So I apologize. It might've been Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now I think about it because, everything continued and proceeded longer than we expected. So anyway, all good stuff. Nothing like bad or tragic or all fabulous. But it did. That's why I didn't do the show the last few days. All right, let's get right to it. By the way, today's show is brought to you in part by Monarch Money. Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. When I go anywhere, whether it's I met the Belknap family this week and had a nice time with them, whether it was talking with some other people the first question I get asked is the lead question we have today on our Ask LOJ edition is, what do the Jazz do with Lauri Markkanen? The feeling I get from most people is they're expecting the next shoe to drop. I don't expect the next shoe to drop. I expect Lauri Markkanen to actually be here with the Utah Jazz throughout this process and probably in the lineup the next time the Jazz make a playoff team. I expect that Lauri Markkanen will be a member of the Utah Jazz when they play their next playoff game. I think that's the way this is going to work. Here's why. First off, if you've listened to Austin Ainge and what the Jazz are trying to do now, is what you're going to do is you're trying to get these young players to click in. And then while they're under some sort of cost control, so rookie contract or first contract after rookie contract, you then add on top of them in this era of the first and second apron and a pretty hard cap on the top to be able to build out your roster. You have the youth of the roster to build your depth, and then you move forward. So, for example, this would be a scenario by which this happens, is that either Ace Bailey or the kid we get next year begin to hit. Keontae's matured into an NBA rotation player. Kyle Filipowski's matured into an NBA rotation player. Walker Kessler's an NBA rotation player. You have Lauri Markkanen. You now add on top of that, and now you've got your 8 or 9 man rotation. And when you add on top of that, you're probably adding a star or at least something close. Then either Ace Bailey or whoever our new kid is have moved up the ladder. Lauri may be our third best player at that point. Walker's your fourth best. Keontae suddenly has a role. And now you've got a really good team. And that maybe 3 years away, maybe 4 years away. I mean, you've got to get Ace Bailey enough time to mature. You've got to get the next kid enough time. You got to hit on those kids. There's a lot of pressure. And if you miss, every time you miss, it backs you up like 2 years, frankly. Oklahoma City looks great right now because they have Shea they had missed on a bunch of drafts in a row, and then they hit on Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams at the same time, and then boom, they're year 3 and they're going. And obviously but that's a lot of it. So that's the scenario by which I see the Utah Jazz building their roster, and that's the scenario where I see Lauri Markkanen as an important piece of the puzzle. And this gets to the next two things. There is a salary floor. So this doesn't get talked about a lot, and particularly if you have to listen to someone like Draymond, who just says a lot of stuff and never has any context to what he's saying about the players getting screwed on this deal. So the biggest thing that happened is the owners got this kind of hard cap, but the players got that every team now has to be at 90% of the salary cap by opening day. The Jazz aren't there yet. The Jazz have not hit the salary floor. I would expect you to see the Jazz sign somebody to some not very big deal. We've got to get, I think, $5 to $8 million up to get over the floor. It might be as little as 3, but it's in that range. I don't know all the bonuses and how things are counted and some of the Bobby Marks kind of stuff that's out there. So the Jazz need to sign someone because they've got to get over the salary floor. You have to have 90% of the salary cap and if not, that money doesn't go to your players like it used to. It just goes into the league kitty and you get charged for it. And I think there might even be a penalty or 2 for it. So the Jazz need to actually have Lauri Markkanen on their roster. Like at some point you have to have a player that's making money. Because the league, that's part of the collective bargaining agreement. It's also the way the league's making it more difficult for teams, frankly, to not have quality rosters. So as you look at Lauri and his salary, which is big, $46 million next year, $46 the year after that, $49 the year after that, and $53 the year after that, the Jazz need to have, it's why they, frankly, Kyle Anderson's $9 million, Yusuf Nurkic's $19 million are actually valuable to the Jazz right now. Because the next highest paid player is Ace Bailey at 9. So first, the Jazz need to be able to hit the salary. You can't trade Lauri and not bring back. You'd actually have to bring back like $50 million. Well, I don't know how you're doing that. Second thing, because you didn't have too many players. Second thing is, I do think there is a chance that the Jazz signed Lauri to a contract that is now very difficult to trade. Because I'm not sure that you can any longer have I think your best 2 players have to combine for about 85 or 90 million in the new cap. And your best 3 players probably have to combine to about 110. Lauri is probably your 3rd best player on a really good team. And that's the model I just built a minute ago. The Jazz sign a free agent. Ace becomes your 2nd best player or the other kid. And then Lauri's your 3rd best player. If Lauri's going to the Warriors, he's their 3rd best player behind Steph and Jimmy. If Lauri's going to the Lakers, he's their 3rd best player between LeBron and Luka. If Lauri's going, right, you got it. But at 46 million and up to 52 million, I'm not sure Lauri can fit as someone's 3rd best player in the new version of the cap. So there's 3 reasons why I think Lauri Markkanen will be on this roster the next time the Jazz play in a playoff game. 1, he fits the model of what the Jazz are building and has an important role. 2, his salary is necessary for the building process to actually have it so that you have somebody eating up salary. And 3, I'm not sure that contract's as tradable as it once was to other players. And 4, if Lauri has to be the 3rd best player on a really, really good team, that's fine, but he probably has to be the 2nd highest paid player on that team, which means the 2nd best player needs to be under salary control as a rookie or on their rookie contract, which is exactly what the Jazz hope Ace Bailey or whomever they draft next year is going to be. Does that make sense? Because it's, to me, it kind of clarifies what Lauri's role here is. And then also, you do need some viable model by which you can play basketball every night. Like the Jazz can now run stuff off Lauri, pin him down, play him off things, get him in the post, do things to build the structure by which you can actually play basketball. Because if you don't have that, it's almost impossible for Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, Cody Williams, Ace Bailey, and whomever else to ever develop. So I think Lauri Markkanen is here for the duration and is on this roster the next time the Utah Jazz play a playoff game. How big a deal is Kyle Filipowski's MVP, and how concerned are we about Isaiah Collier's shooting? Next on Locked on Jazz. Thank you very much for tuning in to Locked on Jazz. Today's edition of the Locked on Jazz is brought to you in part by our friends over at Intercap Lending. Intercap Lending, that's Steve Carter. That's our own personal loan officer. This is something I'm so proud of that we have done here in Locked on Jazz, and that is that we have built a community of you guys, but also a community of sponsors who treat you great and let you have the Locked on VIP experience, whether it's our good friends Murdoch Hyundai, who I'll talk about in a second, or whether it's because of the greatest single loan officer of all time, Steve Carter. Steve Carter is the best customer service person I have ever dealt with in any way. And Intercap Lending's been a sponsor for Locked On for about 7 years. It's a mortgage company that's shaking things up by making home loans more accessible, straightforward, and personal. A Utah company that's accessible to you outside of Utah. And Steve Carter's our own personal loan officer. And the reviews come in, time out. Just amazing. I've worked with Steve on 3 loans, says Katie. He gets the loan together quickly and the work done. And as Paul says, Steve was amazing. We moved out of state and handled everything with ease. It couldn't have gone any better. Communication was our priority and helped ease our helped to ease our anxiety. That is what Steve Carter and Intercap Lending do. So email me at dlock09@gmail.com. That's dlock09@gmail.com if you're looking for a loan. And I'll set you up with Steve Carter and give you the Locked On VIP experience with our great customer service. Today's show is also brought to you by Murdoch Hyundai. Located at 4646 South State Street, also located in Logan and in Linden. Murdoch Hyundai brings you the best bang for your buck out there that you possibly can get with the Santa Fe right now I'm driving. The new Santa Fe is pretty awesome. We have 3 of them in the house now because I'm driving one of the new ones. And each of the kids has one, and there's 3 different models. It's like the evolution of the Santa Fe. That's more than you needed to know. The Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 6 have won every award you could possibly imagine for electric cars. I'm consistent with this. My dad just got the Ioniq 6 and is loving it. We drive the Ioniq 5 in the house. I'm not lying to you guys. This is what we're like a Hyundai car dealership at my house right now with the amount of cars we have floating around. So if you're looking for a car right now, email me, same deal, dlock09@gmail.com. Let's get you the VIP treatment, whether it's with Jake down in Linden, whether we set you up with Mr. Childs in Salt Lake City, or we set you up in Logan. Email me, let me know you're looking for a car. We'll give you the VIP experience. It'll be set up beforehand you get there. All lined up, save your time, efficient. None of this walking to the dealership, wondering which vulture is going to get you. That awkward, like, can we help you? And 3 guys sitting there going like, oh my gosh, fresh meat. No, it's not that bad, but let's play it up. So at Murdoch Hyundai, bang for the buck, best cars on the market. You decide whether you like to look, but we'll give you the VIP treatment. Email me at dlock09@gmail.com. I just realized in the middle of that I did do a Tuesday show. I don't think I had to be wearing the tea times till 9 on Tuesday. Wednesday was early. Thursday was early. So I did do a Tuesday show. It's about Keontae, right? Yeah. Okay. So we got you 3 shows this week. My bad. It's been a fun, long week. All right. How big a deal is Kyle Filipowski to win the MVP? Is it for Kyle Filipowski to win the MVP of the Summer League? 2 different angles here. From a pure basketball standpoint, I left Kyle Filipowski's rookie year. If you recall, we did a bunch of shows on this that I thought he was like the steal of the draft. One of the best offensive players, if not the best offensive player in the draft. And so the fact that he like dominated Summer League as a second-year player didn't stun me. I'm not sure that I think I want to be clear. There's nothing like he was great. I probably had asked me if he was going to be that great. I probably could have come close to saying yes. Like, he's a better offensive player. He's playing shorter guys. He's doing it. So from a pure basketball standpoint, is my viewpoint of what Kyle Filipowski can do on the offensive side of the ball different today because of his Summer League? Maybe a tad. What jumped out to me actually was we did an interview with Kyle after he was named the Summer League MVP. And I asked him, like, how are you better now and how are you better than you were when the season ended? And then a year ago from now and then the season ended. When I asked him about a year ago, he's like, everything. And that was eye-opening to me that he thinks he's made that much improvement of his game in a year, maybe in ways that I can't entirely see, and that he's gained that confidence and believes in it, and that then from there he's moving forward to believing, I think he can do more. So for how big a deal is it from like an evaluation standpoint of who Kyle Filipowski is as an offensive player in the summer league? Like sort of big deal because he really did dominate. But I think for Kyle Filipowski himself, listening to that interview, I think it's a really big deal because I think the draft night 12 months ago or 13 months ago now shook him a little bit. For him to not go in the first round, be stuck on not expecting it, he was surprised. And I think he's validated his self-belief in what he can do offensively. But then what jumped out to me also is how much he believes he's improved and how many areas in which he believes he's improved. Like his answer literally was everything, that was interesting to me. And then when I asked him about the end of the year, he had some areas where he thought he had made some improvements from the end of the year. So you're seeing him take from going from college to believing he's become a dramatically different player 13 months later, but also believing that I took my first year experience, learned from it, and have improved. And so from that standpoint, I think those are really, really big deals for Flip. Because I think he just comes into camp with an energy and a tenacity and a belief. And I really believe at this point his offense is good enough. Honestly, the last night of like going 5 for 8 from 3 and getting his 3-point shooting back up to like 37% for the summer league is important to me. His offense is good enough that I don't think there's any question he's in an 8-man, 9-man rotation in the NBA as an offensive player. And so while he's doing that, he's going to have to figure out how he's defending. But that's fine. We knew that. So I would say that's a little bit more of a big deal than maybe I was giving it credit for from a basketball standpoint after we talked to him. Because I could just see that confidence kind of exuding. Like he was joking a little bit, like I didn't even know this was an award. But then when you started to ask him, and Lauren Green asked him a question, and other people asked him a question about Ryan Miller from KSL, about his confidence and what he learned, then it was pretty obvious. How concerned should we be about Collier's summer league shooting? This is a 100% legit question. And I'm not sure I have a great answer for it. So Collier last year in his NBA shot 25% from 3 and then kind of matched that in the summer league. There's two things here that are of importance. One is 25% from 3 is hard to live by. Like, that's just a fact. The other one for me that jumps out is that per 36 minutes, he shot 3.3 threes a game. And the concern I have is I'm probably about to sneeze. Excuse me. Is as much about Isaiah Collier not making shots as it is an unwillingness to take 3-point shots. Okay. So what I mean by this is if you go and look at guards in the NBA who play over 20 minutes a night, and like we just can like start to play this game here for a second. So minutes played per game, you can do this on StatHead, give them credit, is over 20. And then your 3-point shot attempts per 36 minutes is less than 4, and you're a guard. And let's say you play, more than 50 games, because we don't want guys who played 4. And let's put the time frame is anything in the last 20 years, or let's say 15 years when the 3-point shooting revolution took, so 2010 to now, and you find the amount of guards that take that few of threes, it's pretty limited to guys that are all-stars, if that makes sense. So if you're going to survive like that, you have to do it because you're Shea or Chris Paul or Dwayne Wade. Like, those are the guys that at some point in time didn't take me. But there's also Russell Westbrook. There's also Elfrid Payton and some guys like that. It's a hard way to live, to not shoot threes anymore. In the last 5 seasons, which is probably 19, 20 to 24, 25, the amount of guards who've done it is more than you would think, but you start to run the list, and this is the model of a player who Isaiah Collier has to be. So the players who did this, who played at least 50 games, took less than 4 threes per 36 minutes. Collier, by the way, is right in the middle there at about 3.3, are mostly players who played off the ball as catch and shoot guys, or insane defensive players. Okay, so the players around him, Josh Okogie, Dyson Daniels, Christian Brown, Isaac Okoro, DeLon Wright, Alex Caruso, Shake Milton, Andrew Nembhard, DeJounte Murray, which is kind of a question. Some of these guys come up time and time again. Those are the Chris Dunn, Trey Jones, Bruce Brown. These are insane defensive players who come, or they are players who played off the ball as catch and shoot threes off a star. And so that's where he's going to have to find his mix. Like DeLon Wright's done it a bunch of times, Russell Westbrook 3 times, Ben Simmons 3 times in the last 5 years, Elfrid Payton, Chris Paul, Andrew Nembhard, DeJounte Murray. It's not like it's not doable, but Shea's done it 3 times, but he's just different. Markelle Fultz, Ayo Dosunmu, Dyson Daniels, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, like Anthony Black. It's not doable. It's just a hard way to live. And he's just got to find his niche. What's going on? Should the Jazz make a play at a restricted free agent? And what does it tell us about Walker Kessler's restricted free agency next year on Locked on Jazz? Today's show is brought to you in part by Monarch Money. This is pretty cool. Like, the app world's kind of awesome because of what you can get now at your fingertips. And Monarch Money basically gives you a chance to get a personal CFO at your fingertips. And I think a lot of times when you hear about these kind of things, you think to yourself, like, oh, I don't want to know like where I'm spending all my money. How about if it actually tells you good stuff? Like, oh, we saved this month. Oh, we saved this and it's working toward this. See, it helps you build wealth, helps give you another toy, helps build your savings so that you can go on your next road trip or family vacation. It's pretty great. It's Monarch Money, and it's basically having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, spending in one place. So in addition to managing money, you're also building wealth. You can break it up to different things to find out what you're spending on this or that. You can do it. It's all. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 50% off your first year. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. I used Game Time last night to go see Camp. You can do it for concerts. And boy, did the lead singer of Camp not think much of the Granary last night. He was kind of a baby, actually. It was very disappointing. Nonetheless, Game Time was not disappointing. I got my tickets exactly as I wanted. I used the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. My first purchase was my wife's first purchase. It was a present to our son on his 22nd birthday. So last minute tickets to go see a concert. Lumineers are coming to town. I might use Game Time for that. The other Teddy Swims coming in August, do that. If it's a baseball game you're going on the road to, like PK did, to go see things in Toronto and Philadelphia and New York, you can save money with Game Time. Game Time zone deals, pick the best seats in your section. Seat views right in the app before you buy, so you know exactly where you'll be. Game Time is the official ticketing app partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming event, whatever it might be. For me, it's summer concerts. I'd go to them every day if I could. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Tickets apply. Again, create an account, redeem LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first. Right? Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. In that commercial break, we were talking about concerts. My son did have a great line that it's like an endurance event, like standing for 3 hours straight. I'm getting old for that. I will not lie to you. All right. Should the Jazz, there's a good question that came in. Should the Jazz 1 year large or near max offer to Kuminga, Giddey, or Grimes and give them a tradable contract plus other teams in a bad spot if they match? So there's two things to that. One is that I don't know that the Jazz actually have that much cap space right now. I'd have to look and see where we are. Right now, I think we're only about $6.6 million under the cap. So I'd have to check that. So I don't think we could make that offer. We have $43 million under the tax, 44 or 45 million, and 50 to the one apron and 63 to the other. So in that sense, we have room, but we don't. Second thing is the player would have to be willing to do that. And the only reason the player would be willing to do that is it's better than their qualifying offer. What happens to a player who's in restricted free agents, so Kuminga, Giddey, Grimes, is that the first thing is because nobody has cap space, it has to be a sign and trade. And because it has to be a sign and trade, none of the things that, like right now, supposedly, according to various reports, Phoenix and Sacramento are interested in Kuminga, but the Warriors aren't interested in anything that Phoenix or Sacramento has to offer back. So the Warriors aren't willing to do a sign and trade. Well, now the player is kind of stuck in restricted free agency. So then their only leverage piece is to then take the qualifying offer. So the reason the 1 year large max offer might be interesting to players because it's better than their qualifying offer, and they have to go into free agency unrestricted anyway next year. For the Jazz, though, like on this model you're giving me, why would we do that? Why would you want to sign a 1 year large max contract to Kuminga, Giddey, or Grimes, who then takes the minutes away from your developing player, who then's leaving you in a year in free agency? Right? The reason you'd want to offer Kuminga, Giddey, or Grimes, or the restricted free agents right now, is because you believe they're a better prospect for the next 4 years for your roster than what you have. And they all might be, frankly. Like if you were to ask me, take our young run, excluding Ace Bailey, of Keontae, Taylor Hendricks, Bryce Sensabaugh, Kyle Filipowski, Isaiah Collier. I'm forgetting somebody. I did not forget Taylor like everybody. Cody. So those six, and asked me, do I think Jonathan Kuminga is better than those six? The answer might be maybe. He has a fly, can't shoot, but he might be better. Do I think Josh Giddey is better? Maybe. He has a fly, doesn't shoot it great, but he might be better. And do I think Quentin Grimes is better? Probably not. So, yes, you could argue that you should sign one of those guys as a restricted free agent because they're a better young player for us. So then the next question would be, this is the decision tree if you're the Jazz, you have to go down. The next one is, okay, we're going to have a bunch of cap space next year because just 19 is coming off the books. And if Kenyon Martin is non-guaranteed on our deal, we have a bunch of space next year. In 26, 27, we'll have a bunch of space. And if that's the case, is the space that we could use in 26, 27, or even 27, 28 got a chance to be used better on a player that's available via trade or free agency in 26, 27, 27, 28, or are Kuminga and Giddey better than those players? So that's the second decision. So the first decision is signing Giddey or Kuminga long-term if we could. Is that better than what we have? Second choice is that better than what we could get next year in free agency? And then third question is, how much does losing that flexibility matter as we move forward? I'm not sure Kuminga and Giddey are so perfect that it's worth doing that and where we are. Here's the interesting one. We'll talk about this next week. How does the freeze out right now of Kuminga, Giddey, and Grimes alter the way the Jazz deal with Walker Kessler. So Walker Kessler is a restricted free agent next year if the Jazz do not sign him to an extension. He holds $14 million of cap. He owns $14 million of cap hold. Here's the quick version. We'll talk about it more next week. If the Jazz were to sign Walker to an extension, it would probably be somewhere between 20 and 25 million a year. Ballpark. Then it takes $6 million of cap space for next year. Okay? At 20. And it takes $11 million of next year's cap space. His cap hold next year is 14.6. So the Jazz would eliminate $10 million of flexibility and possibly signing someone with cap space. In exchange for what? Signing Walker to a longer-term deal and having the security of Walker being there. At what risk do the Jazz have to not sign Walker right now? The downside is 11 to somewhere, even if he would agree to 20 to 25, is somewhere between $6 and $11 million of cap space you're losing. At what risk? If you don't do it. Because Jonathan Kuminga, Josh Giddey, and Quentin Grimes, as restricted free agents, certainly aren't going anywhere right now. Now, next year's market is different, and you better analyze it if you're the Jazz. But there is a chance that this is showing the Jazz that signing Walker Kessler to an extension right now is a nice act to Walker Kessler, but from a franchise standpoint, might be taking a penalty without a risk. We'll talk about it next week on Locked on Jazz. Thank you very much for tuning in. We apologize for the no-show Wednesday and Thursday this week. I don't really actually apologize. I take that back. I hate that when people say, they're not. No, I didn't do a show Wednesday and Thursday. I knew exactly what I was doing. I hope you understand. That's what I'm actually saying. Thank you very much for Locked on Jazz, for tuning in. You can follow me on socials at DLock09. Have a great day. We stand at the first ever national 24/7 NBA channel, Locked on NBA. If you're on audio, check out Locked on NBA. It's still every day during the offseason.